What do you want in a car? Don't worry, we know it's mobility and comfort. How about a classic car? You might want to hold on to your wallets as we uncover the costs of these timeless vehicles. Get ready. This is Opulence Luxury, the channel for everything luxurious and opulent. Here, we delve into the extravagant lives of the rich. So buckle up, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications before takeoff. In this video, we'll be talking about the most expensive cars ever sold at auction. There's nothing wrong with your EV or your monster truck, but some people are willing to pay jaw-dropping amounts for vintage cars from decades past. Let's get into it. $26 million for the 1964 Ferrari 275 GTBC Speciale by Scaglietti. This Ferrari design, the competition model, was built in late 1964 to compete against the Ford GT40 and Shelby Cobra Daytona at the Le Mans 24 Hours race. It was upgraded with an extra 70 horsepower from the 3.3-liter V12 engine, plus improved brakes and suspension. Unfortunately, a weight dispute with the organizers almost kept the design from racing. After some last-minute negotiations, it was eventually allowed. The result? Only one of the GTBC cars was used in the race. Bad news. It wasn't this one. This one, the car that didn't race, was bought by an Italian owner who used it as a road car, as did its subsequent owners. That's why it still has its original engine and was in flawless condition when it was sold at auction in Monterey, California in 2014. Interest in the car before the sale was through the roof, and it's easy to see why. This racing car was the first of only 3 ever built by Ferrari, fulfilling every collector's ultimate craving: rarity. $27.5 million for the 1967 Ferrari 275 GTB4 North American Racing Team Spider. Classic supercars tend to change hands quite often, but not this one. It stayed with the original family since it was first purchased. It was eventually sold in 2013 as part of the estate of the late Eddie Smith Sr., a former resident of Lexington, Carolina, with the proceeds going to various charities. This rare open-top Ferrari 275 was the brainchild of Luigi Chinetti, Ferrari's U.S. importer, renowned for his talent in crafting exclusive models. Chinetti persuaded the Ferrari factory of its necessity, resulting in the production of only 10 units. This particular car holds an extra layer of prestige, having appeared in the 1968 Steve McQueen classic, The Thomas Crown Affair. That detail about single ownership takes the idea of provenance to another level, the kind of thing that makes collectors fall over one another to acquire. The NART stands for North American Racing Team, emphasizing its identity as a racing car. It boasts a successful racing history, including a notable run at Sebring in the U.S. $28 million for the 1956 Ferrari 290mm. This one, with coachwork by Scaglietti and bearing chassis number 0626, is a masterpiece of automotive history. Legendary driver Juan Manuel Fangio piloted it to an impressive 4th-place finish at the Mille Miglia. Beyond Fangio, it was raced by other renowned drivers, including Phil Hill, Marquis Alfonso de Portago, Peter Collins, and Wolfgang von Trips. Its crowning achievement came at the 1957 Mil Kilometros Ciudad de Buenos Aires, where Mastin Gregory, Eugenio Castellotti, and Luigi Musso secured an overall victory, cementing its legacy in motorsport lore. It remained a race car in North America until 1964. Remarkably, for a race car, it has a clean record of never having been in any major crashes. It's no surprise, then, that this became the most expensive car sold at public auction in 2015. The record-breaking sale took place at the Driven by Disruption auction in New York, hosted by R.M. Sotheby's. $29.6 million for the 1954 Mercedes-Benz W196. There are different bragging points for a classic car, and this one is a winner of races. This iconic race car, famously driven by Juan Manuel Fangio, achieved back-to-back victories at the German Grand Prix, Nürburgring, and Swiss Grand Prix, propelling him to his second World Championship title. Notably, it was the first open-wheel Mercedes-Benz car to triumph in a Formula One Grand Prix, marking a historic milestone in motorsport. Auction house Bonhams almost doubled the previous record for the sale of a car at auction. Bear in mind, this is a single-seater car. You don't get to share the ride with anyone else. Sold at $29,650,000 in 2013, it surpassed the 2011 sale of a 1957 Ferrari 250 Testarossa for $16.4 million. The allure for bidders stemmed from the fact that this was the sole Mercedes of its kind, available outside the manufacturer's private collection or any museum at the time of the auction. Riddle me this. Is it possible to relive the racing experience a car was driven in by paying millions and just sitting in it? Well, consider this next car. $30.2 million for the 1967 Ferrari 412P Berlinetta. This was 2023's second most expensive auction sale. Originally delivered to Colonel Ronnie Hoare's Maranello concessionaires, this car was raced by legendary drivers like Richard Atwood, Piers Courage, Lucien Bianchi, Joe Siffert, and even the famous privateer David Piper. First hitting the road at the Belgian Spa 1,000 kilometers, it secured an impressive overall third-place finish. Chassis 0854 competed in prestigious events, including the 1967 Le Mans 24 Hours and the Brands Hatch 6-hour race in the UK. That same year, David Piper raced it at the Paris 1,000 kilometers, the Kyalami, South Africa 9 hours, and the Cape Town 3 hours. Piper extensively raced the car across Europe and South Africa between 68 and 69. It claimed victories at the 1968 Nuremberg 200 kilometers, at the Norrisring, the Solitude Rennen at Hockenheim, and the Swedish Grand Prix. So, do you have an answer for me now? Could this be the inspiration for our buyer? Let me know in the comments. $35.7 million for the 1957 Ferrari 335 Sport. This car looks impossible, yet it achieved a very real average lap time speed of 200 kilometers per hour. Originally leaving the Ferrari factory as a 315S, it made its debut as a Scuderia Ferrari Works car at the Sebring 12 Hours. Peter Collins and Maurice Trintignant led the first 20 laps of the race, but ultimately finished in 6th place. Wolfgang von Trips later improved on this result at the Mille Miglia, securing a second-place finish behind Ferrari team leader Piero Taruffi. It then joined the North American racing team and continued its journey in North America, achieving a standout victory at the 1958 Cuban Grand Prix in Havana. By 1970, Pierre Bardignon acquired it for his renowned collection, where it remained until it was auctioned in Paris in 2016 for $35.7 million. Is there a limit to how much these collectors can pay for their valued acquisitions? Continue with us to find out what the most expensive one is. $38.1 million for the 1962 63 Ferrari 250 GTO. Between 1962 and 64, Ferrari built 39 250 GTOs to compete in Group 3 GT racing against rivals like the Shelby Cobra and Jaguar E-Type. Designed by Giotto Bizzarini and Mauro Forghieri. With coachwork by Carrozzeria Scaglietti, the 250 GTO became an icon. Further bolstered by headlines and record-breaking auction sales, it is easy to see why most people associate the Ferrari 250 GTO as the priciest classic car in the world. This particular 250 GTO has had a wild ride. Privateer Joe Schlesser and his co-driver Henri Oreiller took it to second place at the 1962 Tour de France Automobile. Tragically, after Oreiller's fatal crash, the car was rebuilt, earning it the nickname 6263 GTO. After the rebuild, Ferrari sold the car to Paolo Colombo, who raced it in 14 national Italian hill climbs in 1963, winning 12 of them. $48.4 million. For the 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO. Chassis 3413, the third 250 GTO ever built, made history at Monterey in 2018 when it became the most expensive car ever sold at auction. Bidding started at $35 million, and in just 10 minutes and 3 bids, it soared to just under $50 million after fees. This car was the first to feature the Series 1 Scaglietti coachwork, recognizable by its narrow brake ducts, small radiator intake, bonnet fasteners, and sail panel vents. Driven by Phil Hill while preparing for the 1962 Targa Florio, it truly shone that same year when privateer Edoardo Lualdi Gabardi took it to 6 overall victories and 5 first-in-class finishes, securing the Italian championship. It also went on to win its class at the grueling Targa Florio in both 63 and 64. Before its 2018 sale, it had been owned by vintage racer and Ferrari enthusiast Dr. Gregory Whitten for 2 decades. A car for winners. When it was ready for the hammer, 5-time Le Mans champion Derek Bell drove it to the auction block. $51.7 million for the 1962 Ferrari 330 LM 250 GTO, a truly remarkable car. This was the only one of the 36 Ferrari 250 GTOs built with a 4-liter engine and raced by the official Scuderia Ferrari factory team. It secured a class win and a second-place overall finish at its debut race, the 1962 Nürnberg 1000 km. It was also configured as a 330 LM for the Le Mans 24 Hours, where it qualified in 4th but retired early. The factory restored the car to its original 250 GTO specifications before selling it to a private racer. It saw extensive racing action in Sicily, but spent most of its later years in the United States. The previous owner, James Yeager, cherished the GTO for an impressive 38 years before putting it up for sale in 2023 at the Sotheby's Modern and Contemporary Art Auction in New York. And now, the highest amount ever paid for a car at public auction is $143 million for the 1955 Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe, sold on the 5th of May, 2022. First of all, this sale is a surprise on 2 counts. The first is the obvious. It broke records in the amount paid. The other is that no one thought Mercedes would sell this car. It had been at the Mercedes-Benz Museum in Stuttgart as one of only 2 of its type ever produced. This next part might even surprise you more. As a testament to the exclusivity of this Mercedes racer, the sale was conducted as an invite-only auction. Held at the Mercedes-Benz Museum in Germany and conducted by R.M. Sotheby's, it is believed that only 10 bidders were invited to participate. And the winner bought the car with conditions attached: Could there be a buyback clause in there somewhere? The masterpiece was conceived by Daimler-Benz racing engineer Rudolf Uhlenhaut, drawing inspiration from Juan Manuel Fangio's championship-winning W196R Formula One car. The prices paid for these cars redefine the concept of ostentatious goods. Which of them would you feel like taking a ride in? See you in the next video.